Story time with Game Master Mike. Hey folks, are you ready for another story? Well, this time it's going to be about how I've gotten into trouble when I was a kid and how mischievous I was, especially in school. So this is going to be more like a in-school suspension was like prison stories, because I'll tell you what I've dealt with while I was thrown there. And of course, I did a special room stories in elementary school. So this could also be a recap. So I remember when I was in kindergarten, I remember we had monthly assemblies of the Student of the Month awards for what class and what grade it is. And I remember I did not get a Student of the Month award, so I broke down and started crying, and I'm guessing the principal felt bad for me, so she gave me a Keep Up the Good Work award. Well, that did not stop me from having a huge breakdown. I remember I had to go to the special room, which the kindergarten aide dragged me, and I had to be told to lay down because I was crying. So another trouble I have gotten into in kindergarten, when it was raining outside and we had to watch a movie for indoor recess. I remember we had to be put in the first grade classroom, and we watched Animaniacs on VHS. There was an Animaniacs VHS tapes, and I thought that this girl was laughing at me, so I attacked her, and she started crying, and the kindergarten aide chased me all over the classroom, and she grabbed me and dragged me to the special room, where I pretty much went berserk, to the point where the aide there that was sitting with me in the corner of the special room dragged me to the principal's office, where the principal called my mom and picked me up. That was the first time in elementary school that I've got kicked out. And I remember when my mom walked in, she was crying, and the principal told her, "What you crying for?" And she said my sister got kicked out of school. It's like, oh shit, I'm not going to go to the carnival now. And the principal said, you know what? Go ahead and go to the carnival, because I am scheduling a counselor. So that's the first time that I remember that me and my family had family therapy. And hopefully, did things work out? Yes and no. First grade, I jumped in the mud, and I spent like a semester in the principal's office. That was not pleasant. So remember getting into trouble outside of school. I was spanked mostly by my mom, but my dad did a couple of times. For some apparent reason, my dad spanks me in public, not my mom. I remember at the mall, at the bookstore, I wanted something and I couldn't have it, and I had a meltdown, and my dad dragged me out of the store, and I got spanked for it. Remember, I wanted to spend the night with my sister's friends, and my dad spanked me because I was having an epic meltdown and everything here. I remember that one time in church, yep, I got spanked in church. Remember during communion, I did not have my first communion yet, and we had a substitute priest, so I handed my hand out, and the priest was giving me a blessing. I don't know what he was doing that time, so I walked away while in the middle, and then when I got back to my pew, my dad hit me in church. Yeah, that's right. He hit me in church, and he grabbed me and said, From now on, you're waiting in the pew. He was giving you a blessing. So I didn't know what was he doing. Why didn't he tell me at the first time? Remember when my sister, it was snowing at the time and my school bus got stuck in the hill and she had to ask for a ride home. Well, my dad had a lazy experience and he said no. So he refused to take my sister to school and my sister told my dad, "Fuck you." She really did say that and my dad's like, "Excuse me?" I remember a few times when I was a kid, my sister telling my dad, "Fuck you." And she did get in trouble for that. Did she get spanked? Yes, the first time she did. Remember, my dad is like always strict. Like I'll get punished for like whining or something like that. I remember I was a huge fan of 101 Dalmatians, and I wanted a Dalmatian toy with my Happy Meal. Well, they were sold out of Dalmatian toys, which was very devastating. I remember my grandma got me a Happy Meal. Well, my sister was crying her eyes out because she did not get a Happy Meal because she got kicked out of school for something she did, which today would ended up her getting arrested and taken to a juvenile detention center. Well, I got a Space Jam toy. It was one of the alien creatures, which back at the time I was not into Looney Tunes. I like pretty much went out of a Looney Tunes phase at that time. And you know what I did? Whined, and my dad yelled at me and said, "All right, Mike, let's take your Happy Meal back." So like, no, I want to eat it. And so, of course, while I was eating my Happy Meal, I watched my sister cry her eyes out. That's like the one of the only times where she like constantly cried because she couldn't get what she wanted because she got into a lot of trouble in school and she got kicked out. My sister did get kicked out of school more than I did. I got only kicked out of school twice, once in kindergarten and the other in the 5th grade, where in the 5th grade I have gotten into a fight with a bully and I had to sit at the principal's office through the entire day. And while the principal was calling my mom, I pretty much snapped at him and I told him, "You better not bring up that counseling shit," which I told the principal. And you know what he did? Brought it up and we had counseling, which didn't help. So that was all I remembered. So let me tell you something about in-school suspension. I forged my signature on 2 demerits because I wanted to spend the night with my grandparents, and if I got 2 demerits, then I wasn't allowed. Well, I did it anyway, and I got caught because it was my signature. I spent 2 weeks of in-school suspension, and I was not allowed to spend the night with my grandparents' house. 6th grade, was probably the year that I've gone into much trouble, thrown into in-school suspension a lot. I remember having to spend 3 weeks of I.S.S. for shoving this girl for calling me names, which I've regretted doing. So here is the condition. In-school suspension at my middle school was back at the auditorium, and it's pretty much worse than prison. It is, first of all, to go to the bathroom, somebody has to be with you, go in the stall, and I only have 1 minute. I cannot take a piss or shit in less than a minute, because if I go more than that, it adds up an extra day. So that was not pleasant. Well, folks, I am running out of time, so stay tuned for part 2. And until next time, folks, Thanks for watching.